They said, Big Dave, where have you been this week? We've waited for your Raw review, waited for your SmackDown review. Why haven't you given it to us? And I have the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dave has been busy and tired. And to be perfectly honest with you, I like to take my notes of these reviews while I'm watching the shows. This week, the go-home week before SummerSlam, which is supposed to be the second biggest pay-per-view of the year for the WWE, I wanted to sit down and just watch the shows and not worry about taking notes. I wanted to try to enjoy this as a fan. And doing this plus working, I've got other stuff going on. I didn't have time. I just did not have time. I was tired. And every time that I wanted to sit down and do the review, golly, I'm just so tired. I just wanted to sleep. So, what we're going to do this week, if time is permitting, I'm going to give you guys Raw and SmackDown together. Now, I know I said that I would put these shows together if they weren't worth a single review. This week, I felt like Monday Night Raw was worth a review by itself, but I did not feel as if SmackDown was. SmackDown wasn't a horrible show, but it basically, SmackDown this week was pretty much just another Raw review, Raw rewind. There was a few things, but, really and truly, like this wild card rule, which I've heard and been rumored that the wild card rule is going to be over after SummerSlam. They're just not going to mention it anymore. I really, really, really truthfully hope that after SummerSlam, this company does a hard reset on both Raw and SmackDown. I want them to have another draft shakeup. I want a draft. I don't want a stupid superstar shakeup. I think that's the stupidest shit. It makes no sense. I don't understand it. I would like for them to do a actual draft. Now, you guys, if some of the archives, I've actually talked about how I feel they should do a draft for WWE. And this would be a perfect time to do it right after SummerSlam. Now, for those of you that have watched or listened to the Big Dave wrestling review for the past few weeks, over the past month, I thank you guys so much for your support. And once again, I'm sorry that I did not get the reviews out to you sooner. I like to have these out, I like for my Monday Night Raw review to be up and loaded by Tuesday morning, so when people go to work, if they want to listen to it at work or on their way to work, they can. SmackDown, I'm not as vigilant about, but I like to at least try to have that out by Thursday. So here we are. This will be out Thursday morning. It will be the Monday Night Raw review and the SmackDown review for the go-home episodes before SummerSlam. Also, guys, we did the Adventures of Big Dave, the very first episode last week. I want to thank everyone that listened to the Adventures of Big Dave. The response for that actual podcast was amazing. I had about 3 times as many views and listens than I normally have for just the wrestling review. So hopefully we'll keep that up, guys, and we'll try to give you the Adventures of Big Dave at least once a week, if I can do that. And I've got a lot of different plans for that show. But, man, thank you so much, everybody that listened. This is not an Adventures of Big Dave show. This is going to be the wrestling review show. Now, we're going to go ahead and go into the advertisement for Anchor because I've got so much stuff that I want to get into for both these shows. And I want to try to keep this show at least under an hour, close to an hour. So I'm going to go into the advertisement here, and you guys stick around. We will be right back with the review of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. All right, guys, we are back and we are reviewing Monday Night Raw, Pittsburgh, PA, the hometown of Kurt Angle. The show started out and it had a new video package. The actual, the video, the theme music for Raw, it looked cool. I wish they had a different song other than that Papa Roach song. I do not like that song. But I enjoyed the new package. I actually really enjoyed the new opening. I wish Raw and SmackDown did that every week. You know, I remember years ago when Raw would come on, you knew when that music hit and that little promo, little video package. They did the same thing for Nitro. You know, you had a little video package, shows the superstars, the theme music. I just feel like that gets you psyched up and gets you ready for the show. So I really enjoyed watching this video package, and I'm glad they had something new. Now, they actually did not start the show with that. They started the show with a moment of silence. Had all the wrestlers standing at the top of the ramp. Titantron had "We Stand With You," El Paso, Texas, and Dayton for the mass shootings that happened over the week and that weekend, past weekend. That was good, and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who was involved or affected by the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton. This stuff seems to be just happening more and more all the time. That's probably going to be a subject that I will discuss on The Adventures of Big Dave. So, after the video package goes off, we go to a shot of Samoa Joe standing on the announcer table, yelling at Michael Cole and yelling at Renee and Corey Graves. Samoa Joe saying he's going to take the show hostage. He's not going to go anywhere because his name has been besmirched, saying that he was the one who tried to attack Roman Reigns. Last week on SmackDown, I guess Michael Cole said, we did a poll on social media and 80% of the universe believe that you were the one that drove the car. I mean, hey, it's cool. It was a cool way to start the show. Samoa Joe is a badass. I wish he would get a bigger push. So, yeah, there you go. You know what I mean? They said, actually, they weren't talking about the car wreck. They were talking about the forklift operator, whatever. They're saying that Samoa Joe was the one behind the attack. So Samoa Joe threatens to hold the show up until Roman Reigns meets him face to face and gives him a public apology. Yada, yada, whatever. We then get a tag team match. We're going to have Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus Natalya Neidhart and Trish Stratus. Here's my problem with this, okay? Any other time, a go-home show, I don't really have a problem with the superstars in a tag team match that they're going to face each other at SummerSlam. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's not the way I prefer to do things. In this situation, though, you got Trish Stratus coming back for SummerSlam. It's supposed to be a big deal. She hasn't been in a wrestling ring, doing this for a long time. It's her comeback. And I really feel like you should make that special. And when you see Trish Stratus in the ring, even though she did not get tagged in during this match and she did not get any kind of work in the ring, I still feel like you're kind of tarnishing that opportunity to make a big impression at SummerSlam because, visually, you're seeing her in the ring even though she's not wrestling. That takes away from the experience, that takes away from the nostalgia of, oh, here she is finally in the ring. The way this match turned out was okay. Basically, Trish Stratus does not even get tagged into the match. Charlotte Flair gets upset, acts like she's just going to walk away. Around that time, Natty gets Becky and puts her in the sharpshooter. Becky is writhing in pain. She gets to the ropes to break the hold. The referee gives her the 5 count. Natty ignores the 5 count from the ref, which leads to a disqualification. So I liked this for the simple fact, why not? I mean, if you're trying to win a championship and you're wanting to go fight in your hometown, your home country of Canada, and you're getting an opportunity to basically a throwaway match. It doesn't matter if Natty wins or loses this match. She still has her title match at SummerSlam. It is a submission match. Why not do some extra damage on this woman, because she's going to be less than 100% going into SummerSlam. That's just smarts. That's logic. The Becky Lynch and Natalya feud that has been going on, and the build-up for this feud up to SummerSlam, to me personally, has been the best build-up that they've done in a long time for any matches. It's definitely, the best build-up for any match that we have on SummerSlam this year. Yes, you could go Brock Lesnar and Seth, but I kind of feel like, that's a match that has been drawn out and dragged on. They've fought, they've come back, fought again. It's just, I personally, and I'll get into this later, and I know that I'm not the only one, because I've seen comments and things from other people in the community. They have made Seth Rollins kind of look like a bitch lately. And, there's a guy who, at one time, he was the hottest thing on the show. When he was the Intercontinental Champion, and having those matches and, running that gauntlet, that Monday Night Raw, man, Seth Rollins was on fire. He was the number one face on the company. Ever since he went and he beat Brock, and then he fought Baron Corbin and Baron Corbin and Baron Corbin. Becky Lynch was his girlfriend, so it was the man's man. It was basically making him just look like a bitch the past few weeks. And they didn't make him look any better tonight on Monday Night Raw. They didn't make him look any better. So anyway, we'll get to that later. But the build for Natty and Becky, I feel like, is the best. At the end, while Natty had Becky in the sharpshooter, Trish Stratus tried to break it up. Natty pushes Trish. It is what it is, man. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, really the only issue I have is I wish you could have put somebody else in that match than Trish Stratus. I don't think Trish needed to be in that match. Then we go to Andrade Cien Almas versus Rey Mysterio. Now, these guys fought last week. Andrade pulled Rey's mask off. This was the callus for their whole matchup rematch. This was, Rey is wanting to get back at Andrade for embarrassing him. This was a great match. I want to see Andrade and Rey in a match that means something. At a pay-per-view, and give these guys 15, 25 minutes. Let them show off what they can do. If you can give us matches like this on a consistent basis, Monday Night Raw, then you're going to give us what we want. Eventually, this is going to get stale as well. This will be getting old soon as well, because we have seen it now 3 or 4 times. And that's what I don't understand is, you've got a good thing right here with Andrade and Rey. Why can't you build some type of storyline around this and push it for SummerSlam? I would have loved to have seen Rey and Andrade in a ladder match at SummerSlam, or Rey and Andrade hair versus mask, or, Rey and Andrade, the winner is the new number 1 contender for the United States title. Anything. Just give me something. Make the match mean something. Have them fighting for a reason, and let these guys work, because those are 2 of the best workers that you have right now on the Raw roster, and at least when they're in the ring together, they look great. So you have that match. Good match. Andrade wins. Selena Vega basically distracts Rey Mysterio. Andrade gets the that double underarm DDT. I forgot what it's called. And Andrade wins. We then go into the 24/7 championship segment. Mike and Maria Kanellis is at the OBGYN. Mike Kanellis is back there with the nurse. Maria has the 24/7 title around her stomach, and she's rubbing it like it's her belly, like it's her baby. She tells Mike Kanellis to quit giving her a massage because it's making her tense. So he goes over and has her lay back on the little table that she was in with her feet in the stirrups. And the nurse or the doctor that was in the room was actually the female ref for the NXT. Well, as Mike Kanellis is giving his wife a hug, he's actually kind of laid on top of her and has her shoulders pinned. The referee smacks Mike on the back 3 times. 1, 2, 3. New 24/7 champion is Mike Kanellis. This, again, really makes no sense to me. I wish, honestly, they would just kept the title on Maria for the 9 months, and we wouldn't have seen the 24/7 title. But people like it. It gets a lot of response on social media, on YouTube, and things like that. So that's why they're keeping it. Mike Kanellis, as he leaves the doctor's office, or the doctor's room, the waiting room, he goes into the actual waiting room. And sitting at the couch is someone obviously dressed in drag, and it's R-Truth. As Mike is like, oh, I've won the 24/7 title, I can't believe it. R-Truth says, hello, and he's like, I cannot believe you followed us to our doctor's appointment. Then he says, oh no, my water's about to break. R-Truth pulls a baby doll out from underneath his moo-moo dress that he's wearing, throws it in the air. Mike Kanellis grabs it, drops the 24/7 title. R-Truth rolls him up 1, 2, 3. R-Truth is now the 11-time 24/7 champion. I could give 2 shits about this. I don't care less about it. I just don't care. I do not care. Why would anybody care about this? I do not know. Just fodder and comedy. And just for the sake of having fodder and comedy on the show. We then go to Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. They enter the ring. Paul Heyman talks about Seth Rollins, talks about the match, says he told Brock to please he begged Brock to not beat up Seth Rollins last week because he knows that the WWE Universe needs a hero. Well, for some reason, Seth Rollins, who is beat up, ribs taped up, can barely walk. Seth Rollins literally can barely walk, but he decides to walk down to the ring with a chair in hand to approach Brock Lesnar, to confront Brock Lesnar, knowing that the chances of you beating him one-on-one are slim to none anyway, but now you're beat up. You bring a chair into the ring. Brock basically kicks him, beats him up with the chair, F5. It's embarrassing. So basically, after this beatdown, Seth Rollins grabs the microphone and says that he guarantees that he's going to beat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. It's pretty big words coming from a man who can barely freaking walk. But Seth Rollins just isn't cool anymore. He was really cool. And it's just like they took something that was good. They took something that the fans were behind, and they just somehow figured out a way to screw it up. I don't know how you screwed up Seth Rollins, but you screwed him up. So much so that there are people, including myself, kind of, that really are going to be rooting for Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and don't want Seth to win. That is not what you want. Like, you want your people you want your fans, your community to be behind Seth Rollins at this point, because he is the only guy that's beat Brock, and other than Roman Reigns, and who else do you have that can go up against Brock Lesnar right now? Other than Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, that's it. So it sucks. They did something. They screwed up Seth Rollins, man. They screwed up Seth Rollins, and they've got to do something. Like I said, they've got to do some type of reset after SummerSlam, because I don't know how you mess up Seth Rollins, but you have. So we go backstage and you see Kurt Angle, and he's got his referee attire on because he's going to be the special guest referee in the match of Drew McIntyre and Cedric Alexander. Kurt Angle's backstage with the Street Profits again. Street Profits have their NXT titles. They're wearing them. And they have milk in a cooler. And they're wanting to have Kurt Angle celebrate with Kurt Angle. Let's have some shots of milk. And Kurt's like, "Whoa, guys, I told my wife I wouldn't do anything crazy tonight." And he's like, "Oh, come on." And he's like, just one, just comedy. Well, here comes Drew McIntyre, and he's like, "Ha ha, that's funny," and basically talks about Kurt Angle, says, "Kurt, I hope you're not going to have any hard feelings because of the last time I faced you, and you called this match right down the middle. Didn't I beat you and make you tap out to your own ankle lock last time I faced you?" This is just Kurt Angle out there basically because he's, from Pittsburgh, and that's their deal. But that was the little segment backstage. We go to another segment with the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders are the new Ascension. Another group that I don't understand how you're screwing these guys up. I don't understand why they got called up from NXT while they were the NXT champions. While you're doing this, you have the Street Profits now on Raw and NXT. You could have been having the Viking Raiders, the War Raiders against the Street Profits in NXT right now, and they could be having a match at the SummerSlam for NXT. But no, instead you have the Viking Raiders brought up, or the War Raiders brought up, changed their name to the Viking Experience, then changed their name to the Viking Raiders, and they fight jobbers every week. They fight local enhancement talent every freaking week. This week's no different. I hope they have something for these guys. I hope that they have some idea of where they're going to go with this, because as of right now, the Viking Raiders are the new Ascension. A team that had all the potential in the world, were badass, brought up to the main roster, and just nothing for them. Why do they call these people up if you have nothing planned for them? What is the point? Seriously, what is the point? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Of course, Viking Raiders win in, 3-4 minutes, whatever. Then they do a Harley Race tribute video, which was very good. I'm glad they did that. Because I noticed they didn't do the in memory of Harley Race before the show started. But I guess they was doing the Stand With You, and then they just wanted to do this later. So, once again, we did lose Harley Race last week. So, thoughts and prayers with his family and loved ones. But they did a good, tribute video there for Harley Race. Next up, Cedric Alexander versus Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre comes out first. We've got Kurt Angle in the ring. Actually, he comes out first. Kurt Angle's in the ring. Drew McIntyre comes out. Cedric Alexander's music comes out. He comes out to his music. Drew basically jumps him before he can get in the ring, before the match can even start. Then out of nowhere, lights go out. And we know what that means. It's time for the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. When the lights come back up, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, is in the ring, and he is putting the mandible claw on Kurt Angle. Another case of a legend putting over Bray. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. And I kind of like Bray using the mandible claw, even though I think the Sister Abigail is a great finishing move. I do also like the mandible claw. And I think it's cool that it's kind of handed down to him from Mankind. It's like Stone Cold, Kevin Owens using the stunner. You've got Bray Wyatt using the mandible claw. Dolph Ziggler, maybe he's going to start using the Sweet Chin music. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I heard there was a kind of a rule, one of those Vince-isms, where Vince didn't want these guys using old superstars finishing moves. And I've heard that he's now allowing that. Again, that's allegations. Don't know if it's true. Well, Then we go to the OC, which ends up being basically, it started out to be a tag team match, Gallows and Anderson versus Xavier and Big E. That match gets screwed up, and it's basically going to be the OC, which is the original club, Gallows, Anderson, and AJ Styles versus the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E, and Ricochet. So it ends up being a 6-man tag. Luke Gallows had his face paint on that he wore in Japan. Looked great. I always wondered why he did not wear that. I think I even mentioned it in one of the podcasts. Glad he's bringing that back. It gives him a different edge. It makes him stand out. The OC, man, they are pushing this. This is going to be a big thing, I think, for the second half of the season. For the second half of this year, I really believe they're going to push these guys really hard. I mean, they've got a new Titantron, new shirts. I mean, everything they do looks cool, and I'm really excited to see what they do with these guys. Long story short, 6-man tag, OC win. Gallows and Anderson hit their finishing move on one of the New Day. I think it was Xavier. And I'm cool with that. So far, like I said, I'm running through these a little bit quicker than normal just because I want to try to keep this under an hour for Raw and SmackDown. But so far, it's a good show, but I just feel like it's boring. There's really been nothing to make me just want to continue to, like, I mean, if I was watching this, I would be fast forwarding through a lot of it if it was recorded. So, we come back from a commercial break. You've got Samoa Joe sitting in the ring and said he's not going anywhere until Roman Reigns comes out and apologizes to him. He calls out Roman. Nobody shows up. Finally, someone pulls Joe aside. I guess it was one of the timekeepers or whatever. And pulls Joe aside and says, Roman Reigns has just arrived. He's pulling in the parking lot now. Which, okay, so, an hour before Monday Night Raw is over and Roman Reigns just now getting there. That's kind of whatever. But anyway, so Joe decides he's going to go and approach Roman Reigns in the parking lot. Now, as he's walking to the car, Roman Reigns gets out of the car. The cameras are walking there, or behind Samoa Joe. And now Roman is standing there like, what's up, what's up, what's up? Out of nowhere, there comes a vehicle and it T-bones the ass end of Roman Reigns' car. He had to literally jump back into the car to make sure he didn't get run over. Then that car speeds off, pulls out. The whole mood changes. You went from Samoa Joe trying to kill Roman Reigns, wanting to beat him up, to this happening, and then it shows Joe. He's saying, man, just chill out, just lay down, don't move, Roman, don't move. Like he's really concerned about him. Like this is now a shoot. This isn't a work. I'm thinking this is going to change Joe to a babyface. I'm not sure. I don't know. It doesn't have to. But the way things are going, that's what it's looking like to me. But Roman Reigns was fine, a little shook up. But, the whole mystery is who's trying to take out Roman Reigns. This is your go-home show to SummerSlam. I'm assuming this is going to be something that lasts past SummerSlam. So I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this feud, starting this feud right now. I don't understand why they're starting this whole thing right now. But anyway, Triple H comes out, checks on him. Samoa Joe was fine, but it's obviously somebody out there trying to hurt him. Somebody's trying to kill Roman Reigns. We then go to a very long, drawn-out 4-way women's tag team championship elimination match. Iconics, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, the Kabuki Warriors, and who was the other team? I can't think of the other team right now. I thought I had it wrote down, but I must not. Either way, the Iconics were the first team to get beat. So that lets you know you're going to have brand new champions no matter what. End of the day, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross won those titles. They're the new women's tag team champions. I hope that they do something with these titles. And I really wanted the Kabuki Warriors to win it, but, you know, Vince doesn't like pushing Asian people that can't speak good English. And that's basically why they don't get pushed. So this match was boring. This match took too long. I mean, it wasn't a bad match technically. It's just the fact that it took so long. And it was no build, no story. It's just, oh, we're throwing this match together 7 days or 6 days before SummerSlam with no build, no build up, no story, nothing. It's just, here it is. Okay. This is making me think all this stuff that's making no sense is just, I'm really hoping that they're ending things right now and they're gearing up for what they're about to do after SummerSlam. Now the last segment of Monday Night Raw, which was guys, you know how I feel about Goldberg. Not a fan, never have been a fan. Miz TV, they're going to have a contract signing for Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. Dolph comes in, Shawn Michaels is in there. Dolph comes in there, signs the contract without, reading any of the fine print. And The Miz says, well, I'm going to teach you a lesson when I face you next Monday night on Raw. And he kind of looks at him funny because he thought he just signed a contract to fight him at SummerSlam. Oh, no, no, no. Instead, he just signed a contract, he said, to face someone else. And Shawn Michaels is standing there. Dolph Ziggler's looking Shawn Michaels up and down. Shawn Michaels says, it ain't me. And then you hear Goldberg's music. And out comes Goldberg. Says, you're next. And that's the end of Raw. Okay. Here's my problem with this. Let's forget the fact that I don't like Goldberg as a wrestler. Let's forget about that. Let's just throw that out the window. He is a big name and he's a legend. And even though we've watched on the internet, and if you've been paying attention, it's been rumored that Goldberg and Dolph were going to fight at SummerSlam. But they don't even build up for it. This is the go-home show to SummerSlam. This is the last Raw. And you wait until 6 days before SummerSlam to announce that Goldberg is going to be there. And the only reason this is happening, and I could be wrong, but I really don't think I'm wrong here. The only reason this is happening is so Goldberg can get that bad taste out of his mouth from the Saudi Arabia show. Because he knows he looked like shit. Same reason Undertaker had to come back for his match. They said that was already planned out, that Taker and Roman against Shane and Drew. I don't buy that either. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. They want us to come back and prove that was a fluke in Saudi Arabia, and I'm not letting my last match end like that. Bill Goldberg, I have never liked you as a wrestler. You might be a great guy. I don't know. But if you're going to bring me Bill Goldberg back, give me what I really want to see with Bill Goldberg and what everybody else really wants to see with Bill Goldberg. Give us Matt Riddle and Goldberg. Have Goldberg go down to NXT and Matt Riddle show him what's up. That's what I want to see. Everybody's giving Matt Riddle hell for talking shit about Goldberg. Matt Riddle is saying the same shit that I've been saying for years. For 20 years I've said this about Goldberg. So, of course they're going to put him in a match with Dolph Ziggler to make him look good, because Dolph Ziggler could make a mop look good in the ring. If this match sucks, between Dolph Ziggler and Bill Goldberg, that proves what I've been saying for so long. Bill Goldberg is garbage. Garbage in the ring. If Dolph Ziggler cannot make Bill Goldberg look good, that's it. That proves my point 100%. Nobody can ever argue with me again about how garbage Bill Goldberg is. So, Monday Night Raw gets a thumbs up just because I see them doing things moving in the right direction. Like there's no more of this trying to force 2 out of 3 falls matches and things like that, so there's no wrestling during the ads. They actually have ad breaks during the matches. It came back. So, they're doing things. I see them trying to do things better. And, we did get some decent matches. It was just boring, just boring. Now, let's go to Monday Night Raw. We're done with that. That, I know, is a short review, guys, but really and truly, you're going to get that right now because you didn't miss a whole lot other than the Goldberg deal. SmackDown Live, from what I heard, all the rumors that came out that, once again, Vince McMahon was rewriting this script, hours before the show. I've even heard rumors that 90 minutes before the show, Vince scrapped the script. And I've even heard rumors that said halfway through the show, they still didn't have the end of the show guaranteed set in stone. How this happens, I don't know. How you can have a company like this and not be able to script your storylines and your show and have it ready and have it done, set in stone. By the time you go live, I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't understand that. So I don't know. Vince is definitely, if these rumors are true, and y'all think Eric Bischoff's going to come in and make all these crazy changes, then this is a perfect example of why it will not happen. Again, I'm going to go through this quick because SmackDown really was just Raw Rewind. Show starts out not with a new video package like it did with Raw. It starts out, welcome to wherever they were, SmackDown Live. Charlotte Flair comes to the ring. Charlotte Flair comes to the ring and boasts about her accomplishments and what she's going to do to Trish. Then Trish comes out, of course, because, we've got to have Trish on SmackDown because she was on Raw. Trish comes in. They do a back and forth. Basically, it was just back and forth fodder to try to sell a show, a match we've already, you've already sold us on this match before Trish even got in the ring Monday night. Like, we want to see this match. This is a match people want to see. Okay? So you don't have to sell us on it. You could have kept this whole segment off of SmackDown and gave somebody else an opportunity on TV. But no, they have to do it. They have to put Charlotte out there. They have to put Trish out there because, well, they're here. Why not put them out there? Oh, we're not going to give anybody else a shot. Let's put the blondes out there. At some point, basically, Trish Stratus says, I've got to do this, if not just for my kids, but it's for me. And she ends up slapping Charlotte Flair across the forehead, and Charlotte Flair does nothing. I mean, I don't know about y'all. Somebody slaps me in the face, I'm not going to hold my restraint back. I'm going for the kill. I'm going to whip your ass. Smack me in the face, I'm whipping your ass. That's other than spitting on you, that's like the number one level, highest level of disrespect you can get. And that is the opening segment for SmackDown. They run more promos. I'm not even going to go into the promos. I'm just going to go into the things that stuck out in my mind about this show. We have a match of Rey Mysterio against Goldberg's music hits. Oh, man. So you hear Goldberg's music. They go so crazy in SmackDown. And instead of Goldberg coming out of the locker room, it's Dolph Ziggler doing a parody of Goldberg. Walks out with security, which is another thing I've never understood about Goldberg. He's supposed to be such a badass, but he's got to have security walk with him to the ring. Don't make any sense. I thought it was funny when Dolph did this because, whatever. Rey Mysterio comes out to the ring. Dolph beats him down before the match, so he doesn't even get in the ring. Ali basically comes to his defense. Ali gets beat by Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler hits him with a super kick. Dolph Ziggler says that when he beats Goldberg, it's going to be his last match. He's going to he's going to beat Goldberg so bad that he's going to retire, I guess. Here's the deal with this that I don't like. Again, take out the fact it's Bill Goldberg, who I cannot stand. But any legend that's going to come back for basically a one-off, maybe they'll do something at WrestleMania, who knows. You're already going to bury Dolph in this situation. We know Dolph's going to get beat. You're going to bury Dolph. But Rey Mysterio has to come out and get buried by Dolph because you've been burying him all year. That Goldberg against Dolph, nobody expects Dolph to win because Dolph's a loser. Ever since he's returned, he's lost. Okay? Rey Mysterio just had a great match with Andrade the night before. Tonight, he gets squashed by Dolph Ziggler just so he can look a little bit better facing Goldberg. After that, Ali comes out. Here's another guy who you shouldn't have had him come out on Smackville. You ruined his return on Smackville. Then last week he comes in and faced Shinsuke Nakamura, which to me was his actual return debut. But there's no pop or no hype over it because he wasted it on Smackville. Then, this week, he comes out to defend Rey Mysterio. And again, you can't have Dolph lose, so you have him beat Ali. So in this situation, because of Goldberg coming back for this one match, just because Goldberg shit the bed in Saudi Arabia, you're not only going to bury Dolph again, but you're burying Dolph, you've just buried Rey, you've just buried Ali, just so Bill Goldberg can feel better about himself. That is the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life. Because Goldberg has never been a good wrestler, because Goldberg never respected his business, because Goldberg goes to Saudi Arabia out of shape and can't have a match with The Undertaker, and because Goldberg made himself and The Undertaker look like idiots in Saudi Arabia, we now have to not only bury Dolph and bury Rey, Ali gets buried now because of something that Goldberg has been doing for 20 years, and that suck. So you got 3 different guys you're throwing right under the bus just so Goldberg can come back and make himself feel better about him. That pissed me off. After this point of SmackDown, I really didn't give a shit. I really don't give a shit. Because you're going to do that to this guy, Ali. Guys, Kofi Kingston is the champion right now because Ali got hurt. That's the truth. There's no false pretense with that. Ali was getting a huge push. Ali was hot. The crowd, the fans were behind Ali. Ali got hurt. Ali could not be in that Elimination Chamber match, legitimately. He was legitimately hurt. They had to put somebody in a spot. Kofi took his spot last minute, right? The crowd got behind Kofi so much in that match that Kofi got a push to WrestleMania. Kofi is the new champion at WrestleMania. Kofi is the champion at SummerSlam and fights Randy Orton Sunday because of Ali getting hurt. So when you bring this guy back, don't waste it. What is the sense in that? Why? You could have put anybody in that spot. Anybody. But not Ali. And If it had been any other legend, I'd have felt the same way. But because it's fucking Goldberg, yes, it pisses me off so much more. I'm going to move on. Roman Reigns exclusive interview. Okay, he's going to have a sit-down interview with exclusive interview with Roman Reigns. This whole thing was basically him just saying he didn't reveal anything. He didn't answer any questions. Same questions we had before the interview started. The only thing that this was for is so Roman Reigns could say, well, I want to publicly apologize to Samoa Joe. I was wrong. So Samoa Joe will now be a face. That's it. You have Natalya Neidhart versus Ember Moon for some reason. It's a double count out because Natty puts the sharpshooter on Ember Moon outside, doesn't let go. Bayley comes out, Ember Moon's like, I don't need your help. And that's that. Kevin Owens show brings out Shane McMahon. Kevin Owens says, I'm putting my career on the line. Why don't you put yours on the line, Shane? Shane refuses. Eventually, Elias comes out, attacks Kevin Owens. They beat up Kevin Owens. They turn the announcer table over on top of Kevin Owens, beat him down. That's the build-up for that match before SummerSlam. Let's just hope Kevin Owens beats Shane McMahon and we don't have to see him anymore on TV. We then go to a weird segment where we had Aleister Black versus Sami Zayn lined up for SummerSlam. And Aleister Black comes out on SmackDown and says, you know what? Screw this. We're not going to do this on SmackDown. We're going to do it right now. Or we're not going to do it at SummerSlam. We're going to do it right now on SmackDown. So there's a match that's scrapped. Maybe it'll be a pre-show. Of course, Aleister Black wins because Sami Zayn always loses, but why? Why do this match? Why not wait for SummerSlam? SummerSlam's already going to be 6 hours long, which is ridiculous for any kind of wrestling show to be 6 hours long. It's ridiculous. But, Aleister Black wins in a match that we shouldn't have even got tonight. Shelton Benjamin, backstage again doing his looking around like he's lost, schizophrenic, I don't know. They asked Shelton Benjamin, do you ever see yourself competing for the 24/7 championship? And he says, well, and walks off. What are they doing with Shelton Benjamin? I have no fucking clue. Have the Firefly Funhouse, though. That makes sense because that's about the only thing that made sense on this show. It's one of the promo segments where he's the Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt. He has the Husky the Hog character eating chocolates and candy. He says that's Husky insecurities is sugary treats, and Finn Balor's not afraid of anybody, but that's his insecurity. And he opened up and openly invited the Fiend. So here we go with this match. We're going to see that, and said that his insecurities will be exposed. Firefly Funhouse is fine. I love these promos that they do with Bray. I'm really, for SummerSlam, I want to see Becky and Natty. I want to see that match, and I am really interested in seeing how they bring out Bray Wyatt. I want to see this match with him and Finn. Not because I really want to see the match as much. I mean, I do want to see the match, but I'm just intrigued on how they're going to present this in the ring finally. Then we go backstage. You see Chad Gable back there with his new short haircut. Elias walks up and says, hey, your straps were by my guitar. I'm sorry, I really thought you were a kid. You got to be this tall before you can compete with a superstar like Elias. What is it with Vince McMahon wanting to make these angles where there's a big guy making fun of a little guy? Oh, you're too short. Ha, ha, ha. He did the same thing with Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre. He did the same thing with Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. So I guess now he's going to do that with Chad Gable and Elias. Maybe it just goes to show you that's what Vince McMahon really thinks about these guys. Oh, you're too short. too short. We'll make an angle talking about how he's too short. And we'll just do it with every small guy in the business. Whatever. Now, this next segment, you have the New Day versus Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. And this is where things got confusing. It was reported that it was supposed to be Kofi versus Daniel Bryan at first. Then they said it was going to be Kofi and Kofi and Xavier versus Bryan and Rowan. It ended up being Big E and Xavier versus Bryan and Rowan. This match ends in a DQ. Rowan basically throws the stairs, and they just beat down the New Day. But they stay in the ring after the beatdown. Rowan and Daniel Bryan do. Now, we shoot to a camera angle of Roman Reigns walking into SmackDown male locker room. He walks in and he says, "Hey guys, everybody out of here." Yeah, I understand he's a locker room leader, but as soon as he said that, everybody just just start leaving. Like, are all y'all a bunch of bitches? Like, I'm a grown ass man. There ain't no man gonna walk in some room like, "Oh, y'all get up out of here," and I'm just gonna scurry on like a little troll. Like hey guys, I need the room. Do you mind to leave? No, everybody out of here. They just run like some punks. Anyway, everybody starts to scurry out, but Roman says, "Not you, Buddy Murphy. I need to talk to you, Buddy Murphy." And he says, "I saw the footage. I saw the footage. You know who was there. You know who was on the forklift. You know who did it. You know who was driving the car. I saw the footage. I saw the footage." He's like, "Man, I don't know nothing. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you." Roman Reigns then starts to beat up Buddy Murphy. He punches him, throws him on a table, has him up against the wall, kind of choking him. And finally he says, "It was Rowan. It was Rowan." And he says, "Rowan? You mean Daniel Bryan's Rowan?" And he says, "I didn't see Daniel Bryan. All I saw was Eric Rowan." And then it shoots to a scene of Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan in the ring, their reaction, and then back to Roman Reigns, and fade to black. That's SmackDown Live. Right before SummerSlam. You guys are building something up with this angle of Roman Reigns, who was trying to get Roman Reigns. If you're not going to do anything with it at SummerSlam, why give this away right now? Why give this little thing away? I mean, granted, there's still a lot of storyline to work out. Somehow it's going to be Daniel Bryan behind it, or somehow. We all know that. But, we still have waiting to hear Daniel Bryan's big career-altering announcement that he was supposed to make 3 weeks ago. So you can tell this shit was written, like when they say this was written like 30 minutes before, 90 minutes before the show, they started rewriting the script. You can tell. You can tell. There's too many holes. There's too many logic gaps. So, honestly, man, SmackDown kind of sucked this week. And it was just replays of everything that happened on Raw. And it's because of the stupid wild card rule that they don't mention anymore, because I heard they're getting rid of it. But they either need to they need to do a brand split, and a real legitimate brand split. I don't know why they can't do it. For some reason, every time they've tried it, they've screwed it up somehow. SmackDown, Raw was a little bit better than SmackDown, but like I said, going into SummerSlam, I'm excited to see what they do with Bray Wyatt, and I can't believe that I'm going to have to sit through 6 hours of this shit. I hope they prove me wrong, and I hope they give us a blockbuster SummerSlam. I hope they give us a show for the ages. I just really feel like, honestly, what I hope is they end what SummerSlam is the end of this era. And years from now, we will look back at this time period of when Raw and SmackDown sucked ass, and we can laugh about it. And after SummerSlam, we get a new beginning and a new start for this company. Heading into October, because they need to build up some steam before they go to Fox. They need to build up some steam before AEW starts. AEW sold out their very first show that they're doing for TNT. Now, can they do that week in and week out? I don't know yet. That's yet to be seen. But they're not giving away tickets. They're not doing 2-for-1, 3-for-1 specials on their pay-per-view shows. WWE has been. So we'll just see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm looking forward to certain parts of SummerSlam. I will have the review of SummerSlam up on Monday. I promise you. Guys, we're going to also try to get another Adventures of Big Dave podcast up this week. Thank you so much for your support. Once again, I'm sorry for the late show. I'm sorry to do this all together, and I know it seemed jumbled and rushed, but it was just these past two shows were kind of the same thing, and after Goldberg came out, that was the end of Raw, so I did not care. I was pissed about that. And after seeing what they did with Dolph, Ray, and Ali, and I'm over that. Anyway, stay tuned, guys. Keep watching us on YouTube. Big Dave's Wrestling Review on YouTube. You can also find me on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that good stuff. Go to the Anchor app, Anchor/FM. Go to Big Dave's Wrestling Review on Anchor, and you can be a VIP member of the Big Dave Club. Totally up to you guys. It's optional. Go in there and give me 99 cents a month. 99 cents a month will help me out and get some things going on. Guys, I've got to get out here. We're pushing close to an hour. Follow me on social media, David Vaughn Lindsay on Facebook, DVL Music on Instagram. Once again, Big Dave Wrestling Review. Go to YouTube, subscribe, like that channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you will be notified whenever I release a new episode of Big Dave's Wrestling Review or The Adventures of Big Dave, which we're going to have one of those coming up later on this week. Once again, guys, thank you again. Sorry it took so long. That is SmackDown Live and Raw's review of the go-home shows for SummerSlam 2019 in Toronto, Canada.